One.
What's going on? It's your boy King Des here. Another episode of Brunch with the Boys. I'm feeling wonderful this evening. How we doing, gentlemen?
Easy. What's good, everybody?
Hey, it's Mr. Gent out. Cheers.
Wow.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah.
We're not going to address Jet anymore because we know how whack that. It should have been whacked since the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Sorry.
Anyways, we got a special.
That's how he started off talking to girls too. Yeah. Who we got, Jet?
Man, so we have a guest, one of our loyal brunchies, and we definitely like to have our brunchies in rotation. You know, we want to keep a grassroots feel sometimes as well, but definitely someone who is a future podcaster as well. I know she has ambitions, so you know we gonna give her the opportunity to lay that out today. So she is going as Jack today. So fellas, meet Jack.
Jack.
I'm not even sure how comfortable I am saying this name, but it's fine. I'm gonna go with it because after Des just did that motion, I don't even know what to do right now. But
never met a Jack with titties, but let's do it.
2021, boo.
All right, so let's get into it. We want to discuss and have some fun, really talking about the pros and cons of casual dating. I think we're at this time in the world where casual dating is the go-to. You know, at this point, marriage and serious committed relationships, they are more foreign than a casual relationship is at this point. So basically, when we think casual relationship, anything different from the traditional romantic monogamous relationship. And first, I kind of want to get into maybe why people go the casual dating route versus the serious relationship. The first would be having just gotten out of a long term relationship. There is no way that person wants a serious relationship. I think we can all agree on that.
No, I don't think we all can.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Gent. Don't. You're right.
No, that's not necessarily true. I think everyone goes through phases after a breakup. Everyone has their, I have this anxiety phase, or you have the whole phase, or you have this I ain't shit phase. You know, there's different phases I think that people go through before they get back to wanting or desiring commitment, and that goes for the brothers that actually really want an outcome of commitment at some point. You know what I'm saying? So I think that differs from people to people.
So you think it's normal to get out of one relationship and quickly fall into another one?
No, that's exactly what I'm not saying. I think you're going to go through phases before you get back to square one. You know what I'm saying?
How long do those phases typically take?
It really, to be honest with you, I feel like it depends on how long the prior relationship was. So the longer the prior relationship was, I feel like the longer your ain't shit activities are going to be. I mean, and you could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, people on the squad all at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And many men have experienced that, right? Going through their little phases, but eventually, people get tired. That's why a lot of women and a lot of men say, hey, shit, there ain't nothing here. There ain't nothing in the streets right now. You know what I'm saying? And then they finally settle down. When they have that,
Jack,
man,
would you
these
agree?
streets ain't shit.
Would you agree with Jack that men and women both, they kind of need that break after they get out of a long-term relationship? And I believe a man typically does have a whole phase. Even if he finds himself in some form of a relationship, he's sticking his dick in a few other places. Are women operating the same way?
I would say all the women I know, yeah. They go through a little phase after.
No loyalty in these streets stuff.
No, I think it's kind of healthy because then you get over the attachment to the one person that actually hurts you. But in the same sense, I feel like where a lot of people go wrong is they do this casually and then they end up in a relationship with one of the rebounds. That's usually not a good sign, because to me, that's not going to ever be a healthy relationship.
I think that's interesting because you said they're trying to get over their past, and I'm sure we've heard the saying, to get over one, you got to get under another. And to me, that kind of speaks to it. I believe even a good woman, once she's single and free, she wants a few options before she wants to be tied down to one person.
Agreed. No, I definitely agree. I think things can happen sometimes, though, when people have the same person all the time and then they get somebody new and it's great, then you fall into the whole she's stigmatized. You know what I mean? And then all of a
The
sudden
moment
now,
you said that word, you saw your face. You saw it stigmatized. Big
She did
smile.
smile with it though. Like
Stigmatized.
it brought her back to some good memories,
Yeah.
I could see.
anywho, but no, some people do, get kind of wrapped up in that and then think because sex with somebody new is so great that this person must love them. This must be the relationship they've been waiting for. And really, it was sorbet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, is it
So,
so? Is it always so great, Des? Sex with a new person, from your experience? Des, from your experience, is sex with a new person always so great?
They know how to have sex. It is. Yeah, like if they're a shitty lover, then no, right? But I mean, you don't know until you try. And I also think that men, and I can't speak for women because I'm not one, nor have ever been, but for men, I think it's quite easy to maintain a relationship or to not have a relationship and not confuse that arrangement with fucking. Um, and I think it's hard for a lot of women, not all, because not all women are the same. They're not a monolith, right? But I think for a lot of women, it's difficult for, a man will be in a committed relationship and it might be opportunity, right? Like I always say, there are dudes who go hunting for pussy and there are dudes who regularly have pussy offered to them. And those aren't the same thing, right? And so I think sometimes a guy might be in a situation where he takes advantage of an opportunity and he don't love that girl. He don't like her. Maybe he damn sure don't really want to see her again unless the pussy was that great. It literally has nothing to do with the woman he has a relationship with, who he wants to build a future with. And I know that's difficult to hear and it sounds like bullshit, but it can sound how it is. It's the fucking truth. You know what I mean? A dude will fuck 5 bitches in 6 months and he's in a committed relationship, but the only bitch he want to retire with is the one he got the relationship with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of times I think it's women kind of not allowing those things. It sounds very masculine, but not allowing those things to deter them from a prolonged relationship. Because what I'll say is people always talking about their grandparents. My grandparents were married for 50 years and people don't do that no more. Your granddaddy was cheating on your grandmama. He was cheating on her. Your granddaddy fucked other bitches. I know it's hard to hear, but your grandmama stayed because she didn't have another choice or she really loved that nigga, so she put up with it. But like everybody always talking about their damn granddaddy. That nigga was a dirt dog too. He was fucking other bitches.
And they didn't have cell phones back then, so that nigga couldn't get caught. He was in the game.
But that's the
In
truth.
the game strong.
That's the truth. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that has to happen. But I think my point is, I think it happens a lot, and I think men compartmentalize those types of interactions.
You said something about just hunting. I think that some men pursue casual relationships strictly for practice, like they're just trying to get good at dating, and
That's a part of it.
in order to do so, it's more about quantity than it is quality.
I
Why do
actually
you
think
think people?
that's
was
the average
reading
guy?
this article real quick that they were talking about this focus group that they were doing, and it was primarily around, of course, ages of 18 and 26, right? And that's not always a good look, but the researchers identified that the 4 main types of casual relationships, spanning from the least intimate to the most intimate, was one night stand at number 1, booty call at number 2, sex buddies, because they wanted to take the fuck buddy out of it. I think it's
They
a
get
much more
relationships though. Go
equitable
ahead.
or equity term, right?
Mhm.
And then number 4 came with friends with benefits. If you look at the top 4, they're all
Let's
related
talk about
to
them.
sex. Like I'm keeping it real. They all related to sex. So is casual dating all about sex?
You see
'Cause
what casual
because
dating
D was kind of
is.
speaking towards that a little bit. So I don't know how you feel about that, D, hearing that.
No, I mean, so I don't think, to me, fuck buddies and friends with benefits are synonymous. But even if you want to differentiate them, by a couple of factors, I think those become dangerous, because I think, I'm going to speak generally just in my experience. I think most women are incapable of having those types of relationship with a man that they truly desire, right? It's one thing to have that relationship with a motherfucker who you like, he got too many flaws for you to really want to boo his ass up anyway, but the dick good and you think he kind of cute, so you fuck with him. But any man that a woman really finds desirable, that she would actually have a relationship with and would prefer, those situations always happen. Girls always talking about, oh, I had brothers. I know what the game is. I'm not gonna get caught up. Yeah. I know. You not a man. The toughest woman, the woman who's got the most game. She got brothers and uncles and shit and all this other shit. You still ain't a man. And when you're in that relationship, he dicking you down good. You guys are going out and having a good time. And I'm not talking about necessarily monetary things, but his vibe, right, is infectious, right? You get addicted to it. Now you don't want that motherfucker sharing that with nobody else. You gonna fuck you good and then go on a date with another bitch? That's not gonna
I think for
last.
the most part, you're right. But there are women, and I've experienced them, that can stay in their lane and want you to do the same. And it is eye-opening, Des. So I feel you, because it's
I
tough
don't
for,
disagree
you know
with
what
you,
I'm saying?
Jeezy, but I would tell you
Yeah.
there's niggas that's 7 feet tall too. You don't know none of them. So that's always my go-to. If we're gonna
I,
say
I
out
actually,
of
I actually
billions,
do know a 7 foot tall nigga, but go ahead.
out of billions of women, do I believe that there are women who do that? Of course I do. So I'm speaking in generalities. I'm saying 85, 90% of women are this way. That I believe. Are there 10 to 15% who are not? Sure. But the vast majority of women you're going to run into aren't prepared for that type of situation. If you're really a nigga she wants.
I'd love to hear from Jacqueline how she feels about like the statements made by Dez and kind of the study as well. But what's your thoughts in regards to what Dez is saying?
Dime.
I mean, I agree, but I also disagree because I'm that 10 to 15%. So I'm poly. I do believe in compersion. I think that someone else's happiness, if I really truly care and love them, is above all. And why are you rolling your eyes? I'm answering the question and you over
No, I
here.
like that. If getting
So
head
to
from another
me,
girl makes me happy, I appreciate you supporting
instant.
that decision.
I
Come on.
mean, to me, it's more so like a free love thing. I don't want to make my partner feel like I'm tying them down or that I own them in some way. I want them to make the choice to come home to me or to choose me in those certain instances. Just like I would want my partner not to control me and for me to choose my partner every single time and come back to them. So there's a strange thing there, but I do agree with Des in the fact of most women are like that. Like most women do get emotionally attached. They can't differentiate between, you know, casual sex and, oh, he loves me because he's sticking his dick in me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I completely agree with that. However, and don't get me wrong, I've been there. I've been that woman before.
Oh
However,
yeah,
at this
I
point in
bet.
my life, I'm no longer that person. So I understand and I agree to an extent. However, I feel like, especially because now everyone is talking about polyamorous relationships, open relationships, swinging with their partners, like there's it's becoming more known. It's becoming something that people are talking about. And
Yeah. More
it's something
accepted.
that the more people are learning about, the more they're opening up to this ideal. And I think that it's healthy for women to understand that just because you're fucking somebody does not mean, it doesn't equate romance. Fucking does not equate romance. So to me, there's definitely, like, I have partners that I've had for 2 years. We're very good friends. They have partners, like main partners, and we still link up, we still talk, we care about each other. Most recently, I had a partner. I love that person, but I just know that it's not the right time for that. So we're staying friends. It's open to whatever we want. That's it's
That's a
easier
true
to
definition of
relate.
friends with benefit.
But that's what I'm saying. It's easier to relate
Yeah.
sex to just sex if you think about it logically instead of emotionally. And I think that's where a lot of women are going wrong, is that they're equating sex with emotions. And it's not emotional. Like, it can be between partners that you can make love with somebody and you can fully connect, and that's a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
But most men don't think
Mm,
about sex like that.
Yeah. No, a man can connect, create a very intimate moment with a stranger. I don't think all women can do that, nor do I believe they even want to, right? If they fuck a nigga casually, like, it's just that. But most men can create whatever he wants in that moment and not even know that bitch middle name. So,
You-
I think
can-
it's
Go ahead, G. I want to piggyback off what you're saying when you finish. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, that's all I was really saying in reference to that, But I did want to speak and make a quick point to say that the main benefit from casual relationships is basically fulfilling that need for touch and sexual intimacy and a light emotional connection without the full-on commitment, and romantic relationships. So when we talk about friends with benefits, or sex buddies or one night stand, like, they're getting that connection that we're speaking on, that momentary light connection. I was like, man, last night was awesome, and you still don't want to see the person anymore. It doesn't take away from the moment. It just means you didn't want any more of it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think that men, whether you believe it's genetic, right, or whether you believe it's socialization, I believe that men have had to develop the skills of attracting the attention of women, right, and trying to maintain that attention, right. Women, once again, I'm speaking generally, right, but women as a whole are used to being pursued, right,
Yeah.
and men are used to having to do the pursuing, right. So I think that men, in order to be good at pursuing, right, and getting the target or the prize, quote unquote, that you're looking for, you have to develop a pretty effective skill set, right, in order to do that. And so that was just me piggybacking off your point of men being able to create very kind of intimate moments with complete strangers, because I think that's part of the toolbox that they've had to develop in order to be successful at getting the attention of women. You talked about
Like
women not necessarily wanting to do that, and I agree with that, right, because I think the way that women are wired, most women are wired, but I also think they've also never really had to develop that skill, right? Because a reasonably attractive woman who has something to offer, right, is going to have a number of suitors who are willing to vie for her time. Most men, I'm not talking about you fine gentlemen on this podcast, but most men don't have that option, right? They're just not going to be able to sit back and bitches come to them. And I'm telling you, and Gent knows this because I've experienced this. When I was in college, I didn't wear, and this is a real fact. So Gent know I'm not bullshit. I have no game. I don't have any game now. Had no game. I don't know. I have no game, right?
But you got to fall in your lap.
It did. So I never. It's like a lion cub who always had the meat brought to them, not a grown lion.
That's a wonderful.
I had to learn how to hunt meat.
Survive in the jungle and shit.
I pictured it too, man. I pictured it too.
Hey,
but you know what I'm saying?
But then the lion grew up and got a Sam's card and just went and got all the meat.
You know what? I had good tutors. I appreciate y'all. But Jen knows that, and that goes to my point. I never really had to develop those skills. And then when I became an adult, like a real, not like 18, 19, but like 20 something years old after college, it was like some grown women out here, and they like, man, I ain't got time to be trying to chase your ass. You might be cute, you might be cool, but you had to work for it. I had to work for it more.
So would you all agree then that women have it easier when it comes to casual dating then? Because it's easier for a woman to get a man, or to get a man to agree to a relationship on her terms, whereas a man, might not work out so easy.
You disagree, Jackie? Gent?
I mean, well, I'll say my part, and my part is going to be surrounded around the power of sexual selection. If you control the one thing that most men, there's end game is, maybe it's not, because we learn to control our impulses the older that we get. So sex is not a driving force. Like we can control it enough to say, nah, nah, bitch, hold, pump brakes, right? However, it's still an end goal. If you are the gatekeeper to that, of course it's going to be easier for a woman to have casual dating, right? Because you already know you dandling like the goddamn bone in front of a dog. But I
Unless
could be
don't nobody
wrong.
want to go inside your gates. Like every 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 gate ain't someplace you want to go into. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
It's a lot of
So
pussy being left on the table, is what he's saying. A lot.
Agreed.
100,
Yeah.
100,
But
because
I heard someone say the other day a 200-pound woman who smells funny, who's not the cutest, can probably get a nigga to hit it. Whereas a nigga who's 6'4" with 10 G's in his pocket, got a Benz in the parking lot, he might have to work for pussy that
Yes,
night.
he's gonna work for he can't just call it out in the club talking about you. Hey, what it do? Like it's not
But a woman
happening.
could.
But a
can
woman
If
I
a
can.
woman,
It don't
that
even matter
same
how she
woman said it,
look.
can I say something
yeah.
though? Can I say something? And I'm only saying this because, and I'm surprised you took that perspective, Jeezy, because I got no niggas stage names. I'm surprised
Well, it
you
was an
took that.
example.
Well, I'm surprised you took
Yeah.
that perspective because we've had this conversation. To be fair, I'm trying to say this without sounding arrogant, right? But it's like anything that you've done your entire life, right? What men, and what I'm going to speak specifically about us, what we've had to do our entire life is get really good at getting and sustaining the attention of women that we were interested in having the attention sustained, right? But at this point in our lives, we've done two things that have benefited us. First of all, we've been consistent in developing that skill. And so at this point, like, we a master class. Like that's not to be arrogant, that's not to be a prick. It's just years and years of doing that and talking and going on dates and seeing what women like and don't like. You become really, really good at assessing kind of what you need to do. The second thing is we've been able to keep ourselves in pretty good shape for our ages and our maturity level. So I think those things, when you talk about, you can't just go in the club and talk to some girl and be like, hey, what's up? Like straight the fuck up. We have all seen all of us be able to do that. So I think it's
Yeah,
not an
we've
accurate
all
statement.
taken some home. Well, I guess what I mean by that is we're going to have to work the room per se, right? We're gonna maybe take an L, and then we're gonna get a win. For every girl's number we get, two of them might say, "Nah, nigga, I'm straight." So
It's
we're
a
gonna
higher
have to
percentage
work.
than that,
Whereas
sir.
that
It's
woman,
a higher percentage
oh,
than
I'm
that.
sure
But
of
okay,
it.
I just
I'm
want to let you
sure.
know.
Well, when you're selective, you keep your numbers right. So that's my game. You know what I'm saying? But whereas that woman that I referenced, who's overweight, who smells like she had sushi for lunch, you know what I'm saying? Like
God damn.
she say, I want some dick, and she can just say, I want to get fucked tonight. And a couple niggas gonna look around and be like, really? That's how she doing it? And that same nigga that said gonna grab her up when she hit the bathroom, like, hey, see, you was
Exactly.
fucking with
The
you.
DJ might
You know what I'm
scratch her at
saying?
that point. You know what I'm
Listen,
saying?
you can't, I don't like your scenario though. Just because she's 6 feet, 200 pounds, like to me, that's not a big person. I'm way bigger than her. So that wouldn't be something that would be off-putting for me.
But she
So I don't
smelled
like that.
funny. You missed
You
the part
something
where she
else.
still smelled funny though.
Huh?
She
The
still
club is
smelled
hot.
funny.
She been sweating.
I didn't recall saying 6 foot, but you know what I'm saying? If I said 5'5", I bet you that 200 pounds hit different now, don't it? Yeah, I thought so. Shut the hell up, nigga. That 5'5" hit hard on that 200, nigga. She got arthritis in the knees and shit. Her back hater and shit. All right, so let me ask you this then,
Stupid.
Jack. I want your perspective. Is sex a woman's greatest commodity?
Speak that
Yeah,
truth though.
Jack.
Speak that truth.
And it's
So
your
the way that I
perspective.
was, the way
Good
that I was
question.
raised in Hispanic household, yes, yes.
So you say you were raised right. Got it.
Don't know if she quite said that, but
Listen, I have rebuked a lot of things. Okay, we're not going to talk about everything, but so I feel like a lot of women's value to men is sex. Women's
That's
value
fair.
to each other is different, whether it be platonic or romantic or sexual, whatever. But I feel like sex is definitely the main goal for most men. I feel like after you get that, it no longer has a value. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that that changes based on the age of the man or the woman and the man in that relationship? And the reason I ask that is because of something Gent said. Because listen, and not that I'm not trying to fuck nothing, but what I would say is I've at this point as an adult, you've turned down things and left options on the table that when you were 20, you would have been all over like white on rice, right? So my point is when you get to the point where you have a mature man, I don't know that I necessarily agree with that, because I think a mature man goes, and this is just the case, right? It's easy to get pussy. It's really not difficult at all. All three of us could have went out tonight and gotten something like that. It's really not that difficult. So my point is,
we would have regretted it when we would have regretted it when it was over. But yeah,
most definitely. But that wasn't my point. Most definitely, though, I concur. But my point is that when a commodity is that easy to obtain, then it loses value, right? The value in that commodity is the rarity, right, and the effort it takes to acquire that.
I like that.
So when you get older and you get more mature, to me, I'm like, getting this person to open up, getting this person to feel comfortable. That's the challenge. Sometimes that's more of a challenge than getting the box.
I'll agree with you because as you get older, the demand decreases on pussy. You don't look at it the same way. But when you're a young man, nigga, pussy's like Warren Buffett stock, like $500,000 a share and shit. You know what I'm saying?
It's air.
It's necessity to
air,
breathe.
It's water, it's sleep, it's food, it's everything you need.
When you 20, you get a free pizza and a 2-liter or some pussy. Which one you taking?
I'm taking the pussy.
Nigga, I'll be hungry for 3 days.
Enough said.
You know what I'm saying? I think that once we get older, you realize a woman's greatest commodity is her vibe and maybe her femininity.
That's a good one.
You know, nothing's better because sex is all but expected. You know, years ago they say the average couple was having sex by the 3rd date. I want to say now these days it's more like the 2nd date, if not the first, if you lay down proper groundwork. So like with sex coming so quickly, it would be sad if that was your greatest commodity, because now you're giving the best of you away immediately. That's all you got. Because and so often, to me, that's where women go wrong. I think if you really want a nigga, you got to make him wait, but not wait too long. If you make a nigga, if you don't make a man wait, he will not value you. He won't. He'll be like, man, I got it.
No, that's a nugget, though.
Typically, and I'm not saying always that you typically, but go ahead and you could talk to it. But I think typically when you give a man the pussy too fast, you'll see him fall back because it's as if he's accomplished his goal already. And to me, if sex comes too quickly, to most men, they only see that, hey, it came this easy for me. I mean, I'm good looking and all, but there's a lot of good looking people in this world. So another nigga probably got it that fast. Another nigga, like, I think it would matter more if a woman waited. And you know, I'm not saying 6 months, that's unrealistic. Nigga been left you, but you know, not get the pussy up so fast so a nigga can know, like, hey, there's something more to you than just that. I don't know.
I think it depends on what you find dope about the person, right? Because what I would say is I've had multiple relationships with people that I fucked the first time we hang out, like more than 4, right?
Yeah.
And so my point is that, but I knew I liked so many things about them that the one thing I happened to get quick didn't deter me from wanting to find out and get access to those other things that I liked about them. If the only thing I liked about you was that you had some big titties or I wanted to fuck, then I agree with you. But if I found a number of things interesting about you and that was just one that I got pretty early, that wouldn't deter me.
That's fair. You know, Des, we've talked about that before. So
yeah, I wouldn't even hunt it down until, like, I don't even know what date. I mean, I think I set my own boundaries. I think I'm a little bit of a unicorn outlier, but
So you the one making the whole weight, huh? You the one going to make like, oh, 6, 8, 10. She
Right.
like, so are you gonna ever touch me? Well, I was just trying to take my time and get to know you, and like, boy,
Not the Modelo, especial.
I want to know why she's sipping it like that, though.
Especial.
Oh man,
that's
you
some
know what?
backwards
I
ass
had to
shit.
take a
But that
sip after
happens
that
more often.
conversation.
That's a great
Yeah,
beer, by the way.
I agree with
love
you.
those.
I agree with you.
That
D.
happens because you remember we talked about that with Good Moms, and Erica shared a story similar to that. That there are men that just aren't aggressive and they will fall back, and
But
you
there's a
have to
difference. But
almost
there's a difference
lead.
between laming out and is it different than you can still keep that sexual vibe, sexual connection, and you can still vibe on, and resonate on like an optimal level without having to stick the tip in. You know what I'm saying? So there's people who are just like, oh my God, they shy away from it so much that it deters them from their shine, and they nothing but a dim bulb. That's a different vibe. Like you ain't the girl's not even gonna be interested. But with me, I'm definitely keeping it. I'm keeping that charge so lit that it's gonna be a situation where it's gonna be like, dang, I can't wait for that nigga to break me off, because when he break me off, dog, I'm telling you, this gonna be my goal. She's shifting into the man in a sense, because she's gonna be like, when I get that pussy, I might leave him. But at the end of the day, I think it's a situation where I think it's different. But one of the things I want to talk about, since we were kind of talking about kind of some of the pros, I don't know, D. Do you feel like with casual dating, it can kind of help people kind of do, and I want to say utilize casual dating more often solely because it can help you figure out what you do and what you don't want in a relationship. Like think about it like NFL combines. You know what I'm saying? You want to go to the league, but I got to test and measure certain skill sets, what's going to be important to my team dynamic or not. Like you gotta test that out. So what's your thoughts on it?
I think casual dating is more the proliferation of it now is more an indicator of the change in times and expectations and people not wanting to be tied down or confined in a singular relationship or entanglement or engagement or whatever you call it. And I think it's the opportunity to kind of find out, to your point, kind of what I'm interested in. But I also think, because I think what you just talked about to me is also part of the normal courtship process, right? Like, I think that's what you do when you're getting to know somebody. Like, I don't think you have to be open to casual dating in order to want to do things to figure out the person and test whether or not they have the skills to make you happy in a committed relationship, right? Because I think that's part of the courtship process. I think you can do that while you're focusing on a singular person.
But
So I
what I'm
don't think
thinking,
that,
saying is, so I want you to answer to this. It may not be the person, but you don't even know what the fuck you want. You know what I'm saying? And go forward. Let's say you came out of some other relationship and it was toxic as shit, or you had relationship pain based off of how the shit fell out, and now you like, okay, I don't want that, but I don't know what I need and what I want, right? You
yeah,
don't,
dog. But
yeah.
wasn't that college? I mean, like, that's literally no, straight up. That's literally what I did at UF. Like I talked to a bunch of different people. I went to the movies, I went to dinner. You go to people's house, you hang out until you figure out what you want. And I think you do that. I think you do that from the time you reach kind of adolescence, 13, 14,
Oh
until
yeah,
the
you
time
figuring it out
until the
from the
time
very
you
beginning.
right, until the time you actually settle down. So my point is saying is, I don't think that this surge in what Jack was talking about, with regards to folks being more open to polyamorous relationships and multiple partners and that type of understanding. I don't think that has to do with kind of learning people's proclivities, right? Or the things they're good at or not good at. I think that's something different. I think that's a fundamental shift in expectations on relationships. And I personally think that part of that is due to the change in demographic and people's reception to going outside the box. You know what I mean? So, my 2 cents.
Jacqueline, how do you
I mean,
feel? Because I know you wanted to weigh in on this one.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to piggyback on what you said. So I mean, I do agree that when you are in your younger years, that you are kind of experiencing things for the first time and all of that. So the caveat is that, say for example, someone is with somebody for a really long time and they're married for a really long time. When they get divorced, they're trying to figure out who they are without that other person. They've built a life as a partner with somebody, and now that they are no longer a partner, they have to figure out life all over again. So, I mean, and I'm speaking from personal experience. When I got divorced, I literally had to learn who I was. Like, I didn't know anything about myself other than I was a good wife. Do you know what I mean? Like, other than not being able to have children, I fucking rocked at being a wife. Do you know what I mean? So for me,
You ever gave head
I
while he
agree
was
with
eating his
you.
dinner?
Sorry.
You ever give him some head while he was eating his dinner?
You know what? We're gonna talk about a story later.
Okay,
I'll tell you. I'll
that
tell you some
sounds
crazy shit.
beautiful.
Okay.
Sounds
Anyway.
beautiful.
So anyway. So, but to kind of agree with Des, like that is kind of how things are now. Like there's not a lot of people dating with intentions, and the people that are sometimes come across too strong that they are dating with intentions, that it scares everybody else. And so it's like a catch-22 where it's like I can't be too interested, otherwise they're gonna go away. And
You're
then
right.
if I'm not interested
But you
in
got
that,
to though. But you got to though. If you change and you fall back off of that, you're gonna find yourself in a situation that you never ideally wanted. So
The
I
man or
think
the
when it
woman,
comes
Jeezy?
to, well, the woman undoubtedly, the man controls relationships just like the woman controls the sex. So if you're a woman and you don't hold strong to I'm dating with intention, you're gonna find yourself, sucking dick without a title. You're gonna find yourself dating someone you really like for a year and a half, and this nigga is not even thinking about a future. So I think you have to be willing to take L's in order to get the ultimate win when it comes to casual dating and specifically dating with intention.
I do believe that you can have casual dating without actually having casual sex. I mean, there's people who
Well,
are,
dating is casual by default, is it?
I mean, yeah, I mean,
It
you
is,
could say
unless
that,
it's
yeah,
exclusive. You can
yeah.
date
You
exclusively.
could
I think
you
some
you could date
people.
exclusively, and
but then
then yeah,
if
Yeah.
it's
So
dating exclusively, is that even
it's a
casual dating?
relationship.
That's a relationship, yeah. Like
Not,
that's no
you know
longer
why I
casual.
don't necessarily agree? I think when I was younger, I used to always say I had a hoe for every day of the week except Sundays was my day of rest. So having more women, I had more options. I think as an older man, a more mature man, dating one hoe at a time, it makes more sense ideally. I'm not saying I'm in a relationship with her, but I'm not gonna see and date two or three women because I'm not gonna
I
get
feel
to
you.
really know them. I don't
I
have
feel
enough
you.
time to get here and care about three whole stories now. See, back in the days when you young and you keep up with all the stories, you know who mama sick, you know who nephew, you know what I'm saying, just got potty trained. You do all that. Now nigga can't keep up with that
So
shit. So
basically what you're
I
saying
think you
is
got to
that
do
your
one
pimp
at a time.
muscles have atrophied. Is that what you're saying?
say it
I'm
again.
So
sorry.
what?
I said, so basically what you're saying is that your pimp muscles have atrophied.
Not my player muscles. Yeah,
Okay.
where I have to where I can juggle, multiple.
I
It's
think
not
it's
even
still
fun anymore.
there.
It's hard work.
I think it's a lack of desire because dog, you get tired. I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
saying that they're degrading. It's just like, man, do I really want to deal with it? It's a desire thing, I think, at some point
I
for
I think that's you. If you want to be successful dating, I think you should casually date one person at a time. And if the moment you realize that's not for you, then move on, and keep that person in your life in whatever dynamic you deem necessary. If you two can agree upon that, outside of that, I think you should move on. But when you go one at a time, you're able to focus. All right, I see this, I see that, and you shouldn't miss any red flags, right? And you should be able to highlight their exceptional and special characteristics that you really like, and the sooner the better, because once you know, then you can move forward with them or not, and if you don't, then you find the next help. So
I think
I think you can exclusively casually date. Go ahead.
I think so. That was a good explanation, just because I agree with your explanation. I do think it's contingent upon where a man is in his life, right? And I think you kind of referenced that, right? I think in my 20s, I was more than capable of, like, I mean, I did it. So this isn't esoteric, right? I might have been dating 2 or 3 people at the same time. I might have went out with this person on Monday, this person on Wednesday, this person on Thursday. I went out with my homeboys on Friday. I had a day date with somebody on a Saturday. You know what I mean? And then you're like, and because we were friends then, right? So we have conversations. I'm like, yeah, the Monday date, based on what I went on this all week, like I got to cut her because she doesn't compare to the last 2 dates I went on. So there's no need to continue that, right? As you get older, and I agree with Jen on this, it's like, I don't have time for, first of all, you know, responsibilities, work, you know, all that stuff. I don't have time. I don't have time to Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday date with 3, 4 people. You don't have time for that. So I think to your point, I think your stages in life indicate your ability to engage in that type of monogamous dating versus, that's an oxymoron, right? But that type of exclusive dating versus multi-person dating when you're younger. I think the circumstances have an impact for sure.
I want to ask this question. I saw, I think I sent you guys the video I seen about a podcast.
It was a flick.
That,
it was a flick.
No, it was a podcast clip. But he said a woman's value is determined based on the way she looks. Well, it hurt my feelings when he said it, because I thought about all the women and that don't look that great, and I said
that's all relative, by the way. That's all relative. What does and doesn't look good is relative.
Totally agree. Because
everyone got different flavors.
Man, undoubtedly. But I think for the most part, there is a definition of universal beauty. And I think there are a lot of women that you can say, yeah, I think we all agree she's bad. But definitely, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. But I guess I want to ask Jack this, and I want to ask you fellas as well. Would you agree with that, Jack, that a woman's value is determined based on the way she looks, considering the society as it is today? You know,
I was gonna say, I think society is very vain, and to most people that answer is yes. The way that she looks determines how she's treated in the world. However, I feel like there are certain communities where those people can go and still be highly valued because their looks are not as important. So, you know, it's kind of like the equivalent of like the weird kids going to theater in high school. You know what I mean? Like,
so what communities are you speaking about?
Just like different things. Like, you know, if people are super into like pets or, you know, like animals, right? They can go into those communities, and people maybe are not necessarily looking at or looking for somebody for how they look,
but shared interests.
They're looking for how big is their heart, you know, are they really about this life, you know, how many
it's funny.
They have.
Why did we laugh when you said that?
You know what is funny? All you really said was find another nigga who ugly too. And like that's all you said. Like,
that's what you heard. That's what you heard. That's not what you said. Was
like communities where, you know, shared interests.
People don't care how you look.
Shared levels of ugly is what I hear.
No, okay, so this is the thing. Yes, there's a truth to that. Like, know your limits. Like, know what your bracket is. However,
no facts.
Like, I also feel, but I'm gonna. That's to say that like men are also judged. Do you know what I mean? It might not always be on looks. Like, looks may not always be the first thing.
Yeah.
However, if you notice, like when women are dating, the first thing that people tend to ask is, "What do you do for a living?"
Yeah.
They want to know, what is your bracket?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Like, what are you doing with your time? Do you have kids? How many baby mamas do you have? Like,
but that hasn't changed through time. That hasn't really changed through time. Men have been tied to their ability to provide from the beginning of time, man. We had to provide a dowry for your pussy. Like, we had to pay somebody in advance a large amount of money, or even it's all equitable, 2 goats and a pig in some cases, you know what I'm saying, to be able to have access to your pussy.
And he never even sampled it. At that point, he never even sampled the pussy.
And you didn't sample it, yeah. Oh my God, what's worse than that? I done gave away two strong horses, Clydesdales, and a pig, and your pussy's horrible.
That's bad negotiating, dog. if that's what Papa asked for this, I say, Pops, all fairness, I ain't had the pussy yet. Let me get half. A real nigga should say yes. A real dad be like, well, that's fair, bro. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I can set up a preview for you or something, and we can talk about the other two goats. I don't know. My bad, Jack.
You're fine. But in all fairness, that was also based upon a woman's look. Like, you had to look fertile. You had to look like you would carry on somebody's line. Like,
Wide
you had to
hips,
look a
wide
certain
hips,
Wide
way.
hips.
And
big
so
thighs.
a woman's body became her value, like, and just how you were saying. So in the end, yes, like it's the same story. We're repeating history over and over again until people start to decide
That's
to
facts.
change. Until people
I don't think that'll
decide to
ever change. I'm not sure I want it to change either.
I feel like that takes somebody that's really woke to do that, because I mean, let's just be honest. Human nature is you want to look at somebody that you're with and enjoy what you're seeing. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Facts.
That's why I
so
don't
Can you
never
say that
change.
again?
men and women.
Can you? That's
I did-
exactly why it'll never change.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I date women and men, and like, one thing about dating women is like, I try to keep in mind, like, hey, right off the bat, I might not be like instantly attracted to her, right? Like, it wasn't a damn, okay, she looks good. You know what I mean? However, once I get to know her and how she is, like you said, her vibe, her feminineness, like, there is something about, even if her body type is not my ideal body type, if she carries off her femininity in a way, I don't give a fuck what she look like. Them curves, baby, you look good. Do you know what I mean? Like,
No.
there's this.
I want to agree with you so
carry
bad. I want to agree with you so bad, but it's like, and this is where you have an advantage, right? Because you date men and women. Men are inherently visual creatures. It's there's something about it. What we see matters more than what we hear. You can have the best. You can be a dumb ditzy hoe and be super bad, and all night we're interested, we're intrigued, we're engaged because we are visually attracted to what we see. It is hard work to see past an ugly hoe and find a great personality. It's hard. It's hard work to see past a big woman and say and see that great vibe underneath, because you got to start somewhere. And
They just got to come through the door different. They got to come through a different door. They can't come through the front door. But let's say that.
Let me guess, they want to come through the back door, right?
Hey, well, first and foremost, this is not an anal joke. This is not an anal joke, Des. You know what I'm saying?
Back door all the way. Leave that back door unlocked, girl. You know I'm coming through. What you mean the back door? I got a smart lock on the front door.
He tried to oop the ball to his fucking self on some Tracy McGrady shit. He
I
tried
did
to
not, dog.
And slam it home.
That is not what I'm doing, Des. I'm saying that they could come through a side window called friendship. They can come through different side. They can come through different ways, if where you get a chance to actually know them prior to really saying, okay, just based off of their looks, I'm not going to interact with them at all, is what I'm saying.
You know, something that men and women do, and I'm going to throw it to you, D, because I want to hear, what do you feel about a woman's value as far as whether it's her looks or, and when I say she looks, it could be her body or her face, but man, matter of fact, go ahead first. I'll come back to my point after this. Go ahead, tell me that way we don't go off.
It won't sound like a broken record. I would say when I was younger, like teens and 20s, it was pretty much exactly what you said, Jeezy. She could have been the dumbest bitch at UF or in high school, but if she was cute, she was bad. I was about that life. As a matter of fact, and Gent knows the story. Gent set me up with a nice Guyanese woman. Okay?
Fine to me.
No, she was fine to me too.
I mean, go ahead.
Nah, she was fine. She was fine. Listen, nice jet black. You know the Indian hair that black bitches buy at the store? She had it naturally. And it was just I'm sorry.
That's that wet and wavy. That's that wet and wavy. Shout out to my black hoes.
Listen, oh my God. Stop. I don't know anything about that. But what I do know is perfect. On top of that, do you know she was hand making me? It was finals. Okay, we in the same grade. Like we both freshmen, juniors, or whatever, sophomores or juniors. She's making me handmade fettuccine Alfredo, cooking the chicken, cooking the broccoli, made the pasta. Bitch was making pasta back in the early 2000s, made the sauce, and made me a homemade cheesecake.
You didn't deserve
Brought it to my house.
Yeah.
Right? Brought it to my house. Everything was good. You know the reason that I stopped talking to her? Do you remember why, Gent?
Yeah,
Very simple reason.
because she was short.
Because she was short.
I
She
mean,
was too
Okay,
short.
hold on, wait, because that is the thing. I have a really hard time dating really tall. I'm short, and most of the time, usually have a rule that I don't like them above 5'9", 5'10", only because I feel like
You in there, Jeezy?
I have.
First of
Well,
all,
it's not
nigga,
that. It's like
I'm 5'11", nigga. Let's let the
I
record be
know.
straight.
But I know I was gonna get a response. You know me.
And I always got sneakers on, so I'm strong 6 foot when you see me in the street.
Not always
Okay.
sneakers. Go ahead, Jack.
no, but it's like a thing, like I know how it feels to date a girl shorter than me, and like it's annoying to always have to bend down to kiss you or to do that. And it's like for me, I don't always want to have to wear heels everywhere we go. You know what I mean? Sometimes like I want to be able to wear flats, you know what I'm saying, and not feel strange like trying to hug or kiss on you or whatever, like. And not only that, but then it also brings in like the whole like, do they have like an age kink or something like that? Because it's like I am so much shorter, like it kind of makes me question when I'm first getting to know somebody that tall, do they have this kink? Like, is this something that they're going to be like, baby girl, because that shit weirds me the fuck out. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like don't expect me to call you
Don't
daddy.
judge nobody, girl.
Like,
Don't
no,
judge
but
nobody.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying for me
He
personally, I don't have
he
that
asked you to
kink.
put on a onesie and call him daddy and call you dada. And you got one of those detachable onesies at the crotch and shit. Someone let me change you.
I like those though. Go ahead.
Listen, let me say this though. I think at this point, it's less about somebody being a fashion model or some, one of the world's most beautiful people. I think you have to find something about that person. And this is all it takes. Because we're talking about this ideal kind of beauty where the face is fucking symmetrical and all that shit. I'm saying for every person, you just have to find something about that person that you find attractive, that you can put your fucking hook into. And whether it's the eyes, whether it's the shape of their face, their mouth, their nose, whatever it is, could be a number of things. To your other point, it could be their body. You could be like, the face is like a 5, right? But the body's like an 8. And I really like the whole package together. So I think that's all
and
it takes.
a lot of niggas signing up for that 5 with an 8 body. A lot. It could be a 4. I've seen some 4 faces with some 8, 9 bodies. And when I seen it, I said, I get it, buddy, because you put a little makeup on her on a Saturday night, you in the game. You know what I'm saying? Now, when she roll over first thing in the morning, sometimes you scared, you thought it was Halloween, but that's a different story. But no, I actually believe that a woman's value, to say her value is tied to her looks, is tough. I just have to emphasize that men are visual creatures, ladies. And I think to a great extent, women are visual creatures. Now, maybe clearly not as much as a man, but I don't think a woman wants to look at a man and find nothing attractive. And you like what you like, right? So there's some men who like a bigger woman. So you're good there. Stay in your lane. But you can't expect something that you're not given. And so how many times have you heard a woman say, "Yeah, I want a nigga that's 6 foot." Meanwhile, she 5'1", right? I want a nigga that got a full head of hair. Meanwhile, she bald headed, been wearing weave her whole life. But she got all these stipulations. I want a nigga with a 6-pack, and this bitch got a keg gut. Like hoes out here really tripping with the expectations. So to me, I can't say a woman's value is determined strictly on her looks. I will say initially they are, though, because that's what we see first. Before I know anything about you,
For sure.
I see you.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
All right. I want to get to this next question I have here, specifically around. Oh, okay. Single moms. Now, single moms and casual dating. I read something, and it basically, Buddy was saying that when it comes to a single mom, you only view that as a casual option and not as a serious relationship option. For the reason that having that child there, if you get into a relationship with them, the man was saying you're financially responsible for them, emotionally responsible for them, etc. However, you have no rights to discipline the child. So essentially, you have to do all the good things, but you don't have any authoritative power to really, slap the shit out of them if you deem necessary. So what's the benefit of dating a single mom if things go wrong? She can pull the child from you, and you have no biological rights towards him, and things of that nature. And what Buddy was basically saying that's why a lot of single moms just end up becoming sex to a man, because those reasons stand.
I'll let anyone talk on this, but
Yeah, if you disagree, please.
I think my opinion on this is I'm not dating the kid. I understand that the kid is a piece of that, right? And so I won't take that for granted. However, my interest is in that person, right? And whatever, if I'm interested enough, whatever that comes with that, I'm gonna be down with that, right?
Right.
I probably typically wouldn't want to sign up for someone who has kids and all that, but it may be a situation where she's so dope and she's so fly, like I don't mind taking that responsibility on, right? So I think some people may look at it just the way that you
If you
described.
say it that way, you loser. I don't mind if you got a kid.
No,
I
it's
don't
not. It's
mind.
I'm saying I'm what I'm
I
saying
don't
is
think so, because I think a lot of dudes do. So
yeah.
I think she would respect his honesty.
Yeah, I mean that's just my take. D, you do it and then pass it to Jack.
I don't know that I have a lot different. I think you hit the nail on the head. My thing is, I'm dating that woman, right? I understand you're dating her kids as well, but my point is that I want to spend time with her because she has something or some things that I want as a part of my life, and I don't want anybody else to have them. I want to have them, and I
Mm-hmm.
want to have those things with her.
Say
And
it with your chest.
the fact that she has a kid by some other dude who maybe wasn't a good dad, isn't a good dad, because we using your example, the dude's not around. The kid may have a great dad who takes care of him and picks him up every Friday evening and drops him off Sunday afternoon, right? And that's awesome
Yeah.
for that kid, right? But assuming he doesn't, I wouldn't be like, oh, I can't really do anything because if I'm not able to discipline him, then why do we even have a relationship? That's not the reason I'm in a relationship with her anyway. So my ability to discipline that kid, what I will say to your point is, if that child's behavior and my inability to address that behavior with the child becomes an issue for our relationship, then that could jeopardize it. But that just means that she care enough to check that little motherfucker, right? Or give me the power to check him, or do you want this to dissolve? Right. And that's the decision she has to make. But because that same dude who said that, whoever said that, I guarantee you, I can find a woman that he finds freaking gorgeous, let him go out on a date a couple times. They're hanging out. He's like, oh, I love her. She's fine. She's dope. And then like, oh yeah, she got a 10-year-old. See if he stopped talking to her. No.
Yeah, he'll still go in. Yeah, he'll still go in. I agree.
Jacques.
Jacqueline? Yeah. So as a general rule, I usually try not to date people with kids, only because my last marriage, I was a stepmother, and he was not around a lot. Like my partner was not around a lot. He was in the military, so I was doing the single mom thing for a kid that was not even mine and had special needs.
Damn.
So, for me, I fell in love with him. Like he was mine. It didn't matter if I didn't birth him. And after having that hurt of losing that connection and that relationship with my stepson, it makes me very, very leery about dating people with kids. Only because I know who I am. I know I'm a very caring and loving person. And if I'm dating, especially a woman, like if I'm dating a woman, like she would have to sneak into that role in such a finesse for me to overlook that, because I know that there's another partner involved somewhere, somehow. Do you know what I mean? Whether or not be the partner before me who was raising the child as, the step, whatever, or the biological factor. You know what I mean? So for me, I usually avoid those. However, I will say this. There's nothing wrong with dating single mothers or single fathers for that matter. I think people need to have a certain maturity level to be able to date those people, only because you are never going to be the priority. Like you're never going to come first. You're never going to.
Never.
I mean, in today's age,
that works for some people though.
today's age, I mean, I don't think that people really get to that point ever if they already have children with any new relationships where the new relationships then become the priority, even if they do get married. Because a lot of people do follow the whole biblical thing where it's like, first it's God and then your spouse and then your children. So a lot of people now don't do that and they put their kids first. One of my work wife, I always get on to her about how she puts her kids in front of her husband. I think that it's absolutely ridiculous. I feel like the kids are going to grow up. They are going to leave. You have a good man who loves you or a good woman who loves you, who's willing to put up with your bullshit for years. Do you know what I mean? Like nobody's
And
perfect.
you know she
And
called
there,
bullshit too.
and there,
You know it.
listen, I love her to death, but there are just some I could not date her. You know what I mean? Like I love her to death. I really do, but I could never date her. However, he loves the shit out of her. And I actually had to have this conversation with her today. I was like, listen, on the outside, I can see your husband loves you. You know what I mean? You need to get your shit together because
You know I'm glad you said that, but there's nothing you can do to save her.
no. She has to save herself. At the end of the day, she
In
has to
five
decide.
to 10 years, in five to
However,
10 years, undoubtedly, that
I
nigga
feel like
will
men
move
and
on.
women do it. You know what I mean? Men and women
Undoubtedly.
do it. They put the kids first and then they wonder why their marriages implode
Oh yeah,
because they
she's
no
gonna
longer
regret
have
it.
a connection. It was based on the kids. So,
Yeah.
But
I
when you
mean,
say, I want to talk, I want to delve into that because I've made my opinion pretty kind of straightforward on that. But when you talk about that, so how do you define putting the kids first, right? So are we saying, look, somebody's shooting a gun, I can save her or I can save the kid? Is it that, like, are we talking about that extreme or are we talking about
Damn, that's very
like,
extreme, boy.
yeah.
I mean, I feel
But my
like that
point
is
is,
the extreme. However,
yeah, how we defining
I
it.
I feel like, my ex, one of the few things that we kind of agreed on was this. And we did a lot of, so he went to Bible college. Like he was very like into like religion, things like that. I grew up in the church. However, I wasn't like as involved as he was, right?
I get that.
Um,
Yeah.
basically he was his stance and me as a good wife, I just okay, we're gonna talk about it. If I agree, that's what we're doing. So his stance was it's God and that it was me and then it was the children. Me as a wife, my job is to make a home and protect and deal with the children. So he would lay his life down for me, and I will lay my life down for my children. However, it still follows that hierarchy where I would still protect my husband. However, men are usually in the position of protectors, right? So why am I going to protect the protector if there's an innocent person? Do you know what I mean? So that's how we did it in our marriage. It worked. It worked for us. That was not one of the issues that we ever really had issues about because I did feel like he did put me first. When he came home from training and everything like that, I was the first person that he came to. It was he's going to kiss me, hug me, decompress, then I'm gonna see my child. Do you get what I'm saying? Like that to me is like a is
Yeah.
a is a priority thing. So in those
I
day-to-day things, some people nowadays are like, okay, I'm home, let me see my kids. Da 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 da.
yeah.
Da. I don't even
I
want to
think that's a
talk
good
to my wife
example.
until she feeds me
You say what?
and I can
Yeah.
decompress.
I think that's a good example. And you can usually tell those couples that are more in love than others when they see each other. It's like, dang, and they embrace where, I think there are a lot of women and even men that get with women and have families, and their priority was having a family, creating a family. I think especially women. So once they have those kids, this is what they wanted. This is what everything they were working towards, finding a man, a husband, so that you can have kids and you can take care of them. So when I think about putting your spouse first, excuse me, over your kids, I think more of just if my kids want something and my husband wants something, I think a lot of women would give tend to their kids' wants before their husband's wants. Now, if it's a need, my kid is sick, and obviously you have to put the child first.
Those are
Your
caveats,
man
yeah.
healthy as hell, so those are obvious. But I think when it comes to putting first, it's just when you have the choice, and everything is on the same level as far as wants, who do you attend to first? If you're, everyone always uses fixing your plate, fixing your meal as an example. To me, you should fix your woman's plate, first, or your man's plate over the kids. But then there are many people who say, hey, the kids got to eat, but who's to say they're not going to eat right after? You know what I mean? Like, so I think it's really preference. I can't say it's one way is right or over the other.
Yeah, I think I'll just say something brief on that. I think it's, this shit is a spectrum, right? It isn't, I don't think it's one or the other. It's left or right or up or down, because at the end of the day, for instance, you walk into a house, you get home from work at 6 o'clock, right? Your kids got to clean up, they got to take a shower, they got to get ready for bed. You might be like, let me spend a little bit of time with them because we have our time in the evening, right? We're going to sit down. And I'm talking about saying, hey, how you doing? How was your day? I'm talking about like, let me go hang with the motherfuckers that won't be up in 3 hours, right? That won't be up in 4 hours. And then you put them to bed. Then you grab a glass of wine, you grab your fucking bong or your pipe or whatever. You sit on your patio and you take an hour and a half and you decompress and you have a conversation with your mate or your spouse or significant other about their day, right? To your point, practically speaking, should you make this person's plate first, right? Oh, once again, yeah, my kids got to go to sleep at 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock, whatever. My point is I think like, and the reason I'm saying I'm not trying to nitpick is I think there are relationships where like somebody might see that happen and like take offense to that, right? Because there's all about things that can be, I mean, an adult feeling like, oh, the kids are getting more attention or getting things before me or something like that. My point in saying that is, I think you have to know your spouse. You have to know your mate. You have to know your boyfriend or girlfriend. Like you have to know their intentions, and you can't be so linear that anything that diverges from this line is offensive, right? You have to take everything in context, right? If you know you get home at 6:30 and you know your kids go to bed at 8, your spouse taking 30, 45 minutes to hang out with the kids and see how their day was, it's not a slight to you, and it doesn't fucking mean they put the kids first. Practically speaking, that's the wise thing to do. You don't spend an hour and a half or an hour decompressing with your spouse and spend 15 minutes with the kids before they go to bed. That's whack. So, I'll leave it there. To each his own.
And it's funny you said it. So, because again, you can look at it from both ways, right? Because what you give more time, blossoms and grows more. But like Jack said, and I think you were implying, kids are growing up to leave. You have less time with them. That time is fleeting, and supposedly, your spouse will be around forever. But you know how that go too. So
Well, kind of getting back to the casual dating thing, and I know we're wrapping up, but I I think there was a piece that I don't think we've broached. I believe that there's been a lot of casual dating that I would say women do, right? And I could, and this is only from the people that I observe, solely for the purpose of getting a date out of that person, some money out of that person,
a free meal.
yeah, free meal, to kill time. I mean, because they're bored, shit like that, right? Man, if that's what people are doing with casual dating, I'm gonna be honest with you. Fuck you. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's my point of view. But I don't know how you fellas feel about that aspect. That
If
some
you
people,
allow that to happen to you, you
go
deserve
ahead.
it.
Yeah.
If you allow that to happen to you, you deserve it. If you can't figure out whether a man or a woman is going on a date with you because they're really interested in finding out who you are as a person and getting to know you versus a free meal or a free date or activity,
Yeah.
then you know what the fuck ever.
You
You get
deserve to
what you
get
get.
played. You
Yeah.
should be able to ascertain that almost immediately. And the whole vibe on how the link up happens, you should know immediately. And I'll tell you this, within 5-10 minutes of being at dinner with the person, you should be able to tell if they're not really interested and they're just here to eat. They order an appetizer, 2 entrees, and a dessert. You know what, bitch? I'm out of here, ho. God damn
You
it.
stupid. You stupid.
No, seriously, because it's just obvious in that way. But I'm sure Jack can speak to that. I'm sure she's taken a free meal and never had it, and knew
Oh,
she wasn't really interested in the man, right?
I wouldn't say that. I would say I've had dates where on the date, I realized this ain't it. Usually on those dates, I will offer to go Dutch because I wanted to make it clear that this
That's
is not going
respectable.
anywhere
Oh
further than
yeah,
this evening,
I like you.
I
and
like
that's
that.
it.
Yeah, I like
That's
that.
That's
it.
fair.
Like,
That's
listen,
fair.
we went out, you saw me, you got to experience this.
Got
We're
to
good.
experience it in every way.
No,
Not every way, evidently, but yeah.
not every way,
Oh,
but no, I do think, I mean, because like I said, I date women as well, so I know that like there are women that will set everything up, and then you get there and she's ordering the most expensive thing off the menu and things like that. And
Really?
women, I'm usually the aggressor, so and I firmly believe that whoever asks for the date should pay for it.
I
So
I
agree.
agree.
most of the time,
I've been on the other end, and we talked about this, fellas, and I done cut many because they invited me out and said, "Hey, let's go grab a drink, let's get something to eat." And when we got there, she looking at the check like she's Stevie Wonder and shit. You know what I'm saying? All right, that's what we doing. I'll pay, but you gonna pay. You know what I'm saying? So I totally agree there. Real quick question: I want to do two things before we wrap it up. One, I want to ask everyone, how many dates do you think it takes to get to the pussy? I know we touched on this earlier. I just want to hear a number as far as from us men and from you, Jack. What are the expectations going in? You meet someone, you like them. How soon is too soon? This is dating advice because I want to leave with a few tips. So this is the first set of tips.
Tips.
Oh yeah, put the tip
Hey.
in. Put it. So how many dates going in? Gent, let's go with you because all the women love the way you want to love them forever, and you just met them
No,
5 minutes
no,
ago.
they
Like they
don't.
love that vibe about you.
I'm sure they want to
No.
get.
So
I'm sure they want to
Take
get
them
to the
cakes,
meat of the
baby.
meal. You know what I'm saying?
Yellow
no,
cakes,
play
bundt
to your
cakes,
strengths.
pound cakes.
So and
I
you
would
mentioned it earlier.
say,
How long would you say?
are we talking about number of dates or months? Because I
Just
mean,
Number of
month. They
dates.
said months.
months is
um,
too long, sir. Just so you know.
Jesus.
I would say 6 dates.
6 days. All right, go ahead, Des. I can't even respond to that shit. Oh my god, this nigga said 6
I
days.
mean, I guess two or is the proper thing to say. I mean, because listen,
Not the proper thing to say, nigga.
here's what I'm going to say.
Say what you expect. Say what
Here's
you
what I'm going to
expect.
say.
Gent.
As adults, there shouldn't be any expectation either way or the other. I
I agree.
think you go out with a person, you experience them, you guys do something, you find the vibe. We talk about this, and it's such an interesting thing, right? Because it's undefinable, but vibe. It's like air. You don't see it, but you know it's there. You feel it, right? It
I
has an
like that.
impact. It has an impact on
Mhm.
you. And that vibe controls. So there's been women that have gone on a date with a dude, and she tell her friends, "I am not fucking this nigga. Like if he think he getting pussy, I just fuck him out." She go on a date, and an hour and a half in, she like, "This motherfucker is dope as shit."
Yeah, vibe right.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
right vibe.
and all of a sudden they kissing is easy, and then boom, boom, boom. She had no intention on that. That was supposed to happen because the vibe indicated that it wasn't something that was prescribed. It wasn't something he said, "Hey, if I buy this goddamn lobster, we fucking tonight." It wasn't that, right? And she didn't feel like she needed to do that. So to me, that's how it should be. I've had a number of occasions where it was the end of date one, but I would tell you, I never go into a date with an expectation. Never in my life,
Fact.
never have I. And I don't gear my behavior in the date to get to that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You do what you do, and then what happens happens.
And you are who you are, and you'll reap the benefit. And that's my
Correct.
Agreed.
perspective as well. And I'll be honest before we move on.
Well, you got to
Um,
get Jacqueline's thoughts too.
yeah, we got to get yours, but I can always gauge when the pussy on the table.
Oh, of course.
There's a point in the date, first date, typically in the first date, where something is said where you're like, oh, so the pussy is mine when I'm ready. Like
Absolutely.
it's a beautiful feeling, and you typically find out on date one. You
And it's
typically
wonderful.
do.
But
You know that without it being said, though, Jeezy. You don't need anything
Yeah,
stated.
yeah. I'm not saying you say it directly.
Okay.
I'm saying some type of vibe. There's an indication, some type of connection that happens. A moment where you're like, oh, okay. She makes it known, subliminally that
Of course, yeah.
That you can get it, you know, and I love that. But
Right.
you
And
still waiting 5 more dates, that
what
Jen.
I'm
So you don't
saying,
speak. Let's let Jack
well,
talk.
You
I think
surprised?
the question is, yes, when it's served to you, because this is, you find, you sense this like a sixth sense, and it's served to you. It's up to you whether you want to eat that meal wholeheartedly right there and then, or whether you want to take a doggy bag home and then eat it later at your convenience, nigga. I just do shit at my convenience or when I feel like it's appropriate for me. You know what I'm saying? Some people want to eat that shit right then and there. Listen,
You
I
just
got to
don't
see
want to
how
be
she
the
wash her ass first before I want to sit here and see if I want to eat it.
nah.
You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day,
Well,
those
you know what? That's a great
You
idea
care
for
about
you,
eating
a
your
nigga
ass on
like
the
you.
first day.
If you eating ass on the first date, by all means, nigga, you should be waiting 6 dates because you can't eat ass on the first date, Dad. Come on, the second
I'm
date,
not drinking
you
out
don't know
none
if
of your
she
cups when I come to your house no more.
no,
I
no,
want
you don't know
everything
if
in the
she
bottle. Everything in the
no,
bottle.
you don't know if she taking a probiotic, Dad, or nothing. Like you know what I'm saying? You don't know nothing about
Change the
her
subject, y'all. Y'all
movement,
nasty.
and you eating ass like that.
Oh, Jacqueline,
Okay.
go ahead. My bad.
Okay, so personally, I feel Jen's time frame is a little too long. I agree more. So
Call him lame. It's
the
okay to
Jen
call him lame.
no. It's not that. Okay, so I give him a pass because of his sexuality. I feel like he's a demisexual. It takes him more, so I understand that that's something to respect, right? Like he's not looking at things that normal men are looking at, right? So okay, that's
I
fine.
don't know how that, I don't know how to
However,
take that shit, but I hear.
Well, hey, Rob,
there's like
but
exceptions to
Jen,
rules. You know what I'm
the
saying? There's
hoes gonna eat
exceptions to
that
the
up, Jen.
rules.
Give
Bro,
us
the
the shit
hoes
the
eating this
abnormal
up right
men
now,
look at. We
Jen.
got you. That's what she said, Jen.
That's what she
I
said.
think
No,
the
She's
hoes look
Jen,
at
like,
the abnormal.
you know, the
Jen,
aliens.
you winning though.
When the
You
aliens
winning, Jen.
invade, that's
Trust
what
me.
they look at.
Trust me, Jen. You winning. Trust me. A lot of women like, oh my God, he likes me for me. Oh yeah, okay, go ahead with that.
So this is the
Go
thing.
ahead.
I am very pro sex, right? I feel like everybody who wants to have sex should be having sex in any way that they feel comfortable having sex. So I'm not gonna put a
Sounds
number
right
on
to
it.
me.
I do agree with both of you that it definitely does depend on the vibe as to when you're comfortable with that partner. And I feel like that kind of fits into how Jet flows with his situations is that he needs to know somebody beforehand. So he just takes a longer time getting to know people. However, I feel like it doesn't matter. I'm not going to judge you first date or a few months in for whatever time frame it is. That's okay. It depends on my relationship to you. Like it depends on our connection. Like, did we connect? Are we feeling the same way? Because I may be able to wait with one partner, but then another partner, I'm like, you know what? Listen, you're not worth waiting for. You know what I'm
God
saying?
damn.
Like this energy is whack. You know what I mean? Like I can't do this.
Yeah,
Like
I hear
I
that.
respect that that's how you function and you want to wait and all this and that. That's cool. However, I got needs. And this energy exchange between us is not enough to wait for.
Mm,
Like you're not turning me on enough to want to wait.
mm.
Like
Right.
there are people
Damn.
elsewhere that I can go see. You know what I
You
mean?
heard that? You heard that, Jen? You heard that, Jen? And see, what she basically said is, we can go to Puerto Rico and sleep together and take a nap
Oh,
and
God
do nothing.
damn, boy.
That's
I
what she's
swear to
saying. Because you
God,
basically
boy.
What
you didn't turn the girl on at all. All
Jeezy,
you
what
did was
story,
fly out of the
what
country.
story is that from? What happened with that? I
Hey,
don't
no, I'm
remember.
not doing that with you today, Des. And I'm gonna tell you,
I asked Jeezy.
all of the brunchies
Man,
already
you
know the story because y'all bring it up
yeah,
on
yeah.
several occasions. Okay, but let me
We
just
can't.
tell
Listen,
you,
I'll never let you
listen
live
to
it
every
down.
single episode. What
Never,
episode is this from? Because listen, I don't
never,
remember this story at
never let you
all.
live it down. What
Tell
happened,
the
Jack,
story,
was
Jeezy.
this nigga flew out a chick that he had previously hit before. He wasn't hitting her, consistently or at that moment, but he had previously slept with her and she knew what time it was. She was like, hey, let's go. And it was Puerto Rico, if I recall. Puerto Rico, very romantic destination, nice little
Isla del
getaway.
Encanto.
And and the nigga flew her out there and they never had sex for both nights. They shared a bed, king size bed in a luxury suite, because that nigga likes the finer things. I heard she ate breakfast in bed next to that nigga while he was eating his
oh,
meat, but That's
Really?
been unconfirmed. That's been
Wait a minute,
unconfirmed. But
were you beating off and she was eating breakfast?
That's what she told me.
no, that was unconfirmed. However, the point
Y'all
is,
added to the
Hold on,
story.
we need
whole
confirmation.
weekend.
Is that true?
It's not
Yeah.
true.
That would have been hot though.
So we
No,
lying?
Jack was turned
So we
down by
lying
that.
now,
Jack was
Gent?
turned down by that though. So you see her, she was like, "Oh, that's hot. Like, can I eat some strawberry while watching nigga beat off? Yeah, that's hot." But no, we're not lying. And the point of the matter is that he never got any sex.
That was a rare occasion that I was off my game, but it's all good. You know what?
Is it
If we're gonna
really rare?
exploit the rare occasion, dog, it was a big one, but it was a rare occasion. Okay?
I don't feel like it's a rarity. I don't. Jeezy, I mean, you know them longer. You know them longer.
It sounds like a normal thing. It sounds like a normal thing.
Oh my gosh!
I recall another situation, Gent. I recall another situation, and I won't share the story where you went on another trip with a chick you were hitting, and you didn't get none all weekend. You remember that too?
You mean that I was probably married to?
Glamping? No, you weren't married, nigga. You was glamping, nigga, and you didn't get no draws.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no draws all the weekend, and we don't even want to talk about how much you spent to glamp. And if everybody will Google glamping, they'll know he spent about 2 G's on the room alone. You know what I'm saying?
That's
All
not now.
for it
That
right
part's
there.
not true.
Was it in Ocoee?
No,
What was it,
was not in
1,500?
code. Listen,
Okay.
You spent over a G.
And like, I was just wondering if, that was the thing I was gonna ask you how it was.
that's what you want to take out. You want to take from this story right now.
I mean,
All right, so before we go, I just want everybody to give a little bit of dating advice to those casual daters out there. If you could just help them out, what would you take? What would you say?
I would say that casual dating is not for everyone, and of course, I'm gonna speak to myself, right? So if you tend to develop relationships, strong romantic feelings very quickly once you get involved, like if I hit it 2 times, we go together type of person. So
One time.
not one time. You exaggerating. Then this might not be for you. If you want to date someone who if you want to date someone who's considering their future, if you want clearly defined roles like relationships, or you're looking to build strong emotional connection, this shit ain't for you. I just want to let you know that. And if you don't have any of those desires, then casual fucking dating is great. That's it. That's my point of view.
You want to go next, Des or Jack?
I go. I mean, I think casual dating works depending on where you are in your life, right? If you are looking to have experiences with different people, right? And do some things maybe outside your comfort zone, and this individual helps you to do that, I think it's good, because the last thing you want to do, and I'm a big proponent of this, and Jeezy, we talked about this too, the last thing you want to do when you're 65, 75 years old, right, is think back to all the shit you should have done, all the experiences you should have made, all the things you should have done. So I think make experiences and make memories with those folks, man, and have a good time. And then when you know to yourself you're ready for something more committed, then that's when you change you course correct, and you go in that lane and you do what you need to do. And by proxy of that casual dating, I think you become a much better individual with regards to what you must have, what you would like to have, and what you definitely cannot deal with. I was telling my brother, now shut up about it. My brother is 29 or 30. And I told him, I was like, yo, don't marry nobody and don't get no committed relationship till you at least like 30. I said, date as many girls as you can, go on dates, go on trips, like all that stuff. Because then when you get 30, 31, now you're like, okay, I know I don't want that shit. When I was 22, I thought I wanted it. I don't want that shit. I used to want a girl that was all made up with the nails and the hair and all that. And I realized dating a bitch like that, that's way too complicated. I don't want that. I want a simple girl who's able to throw a little bit of concealer on and some eyeshadow and we out the door. You know what I mean? So those are the type of things that I think dudes don't realize. They see the bad bitch. They're like, oh, y'all want a bad bitch. Boy, it took the bad bitch 3 hours to get ready. You can't surprise her with shit because she got a plan for it. So you got to know what you want. So my 2 cents.
All right.
What you got for us, Jack?
So I would like to say something to the ladies.
Help
them out. Help them out.
So my biggest advice, well, it's a two-part. So my biggest advice is to really be honest, and not just with your partners or like whoever you're dating, but be honest with yourself. You need to really sit down and think if you can handle casual dating in the way of just dates, if you can handle it in the way of sex, if you can handle it in the way of friends with benefits. You need to really sit down and be honest with yourself if you can handle these types of relationships without getting crazy and weird and possessive or whatever stipulation, that's fine, but you just have to be honest about it. And then the second part of that is to, you know, it's kind of becoming like a thing, like I'm seeing it all over TikTok, is like women starting to detach. I really think that this is healthy for some women. Personally, I do that myself. I'm able to compartmentalize in that way. Once I detach from somebody, I can view them as just XYZ, and then we're good and we can move from there. However, I feel like if it's really not your journey, you need to be able to be upfront with your partners about this. You need to be able to say, hey, maybe this is not for me because XYZ, you make me feel XYZ. I feel that I can't handle this because of XYZ. You know, it's okay to say those things. It's okay to be honest with your partner. It's okay to be open and vulnerable in this regards because you're literally opening up your body to somebody in most cases with casual dating. You need to be able to open your mouth. You know, and not just in the nasty way that y'all are thinking, but you need to be able to speak with your partners. And the more you do it, the more practice you get, the better you're going to be at it. So I definitely recommend, ladies, start saying what you actually feel. And don't be telling these men out here that they're doing a good job when they're not doing a good job. You need to tell them boo when everything is going on if it's not good.
Some people
Like,
get a
if you are not getting
6.5.
off,
You know what? I'm glad you said
you
that.
need to stop faking it. Stop faking it, ladies.
Well, just
You know what? I'm glad
he
you
needs to
said
know
that.
whether or not he needs to go to the one who's telling him everything he wants to hear. So yeah, be honest with him.
No, you stupid. No,
Like,
I'm glad you said
if they're
that
really a
because
6.5, just tell them that they're 6.5. You know what I'm saying? That's, you know, just keep it real.
no, I'm really glad you said that because men have dealt with rejection well for the entirety of human race, and men use rejection and they use it to self-improve. Women are rarely faced with rejection, and they have this sense of entitlement of accept me as I am. And they, because of that mindset, they don't want to be held accountable. So you over here saying tell them the truth. Women want to be able to tell a nigga the brute honest truth, him take it on the chin, man up and do what he's supposed to. But the moment a nigga tell y'all the truth, you in your tears, you're overly emotional, and you're using your emotions to deflect
That's
and
true.
never actually change anything, and act as if, well, and women, I hear dumb hoes who are typically single tell it to their friends in relationships all the time. He should love you for you. Regarding whether or not she's a shitty person or how she handles this and that, her weight, et cetera, whatever it is, a man's supposed to accept you for you, and you can't be held accountable. You can't receive constructive criticism and move on. If that's the mindset that you have, well, ladies, buckle down because you'll be casually dating for the rest of your life, hope. And not because it's a choice, but because you have no other choice.
Well, goddamn.
So
So to speak to that, just in those like that instance where you're like a
You
woman
can't
handle it.
interrupt in the middle of final thoughts. I mean,
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Wanna
No,
hear
because
it.
of what you said. No, because of what you said, and it kind of made me think like, you know, I feel like this is something where the whole honesty comes in. Is like women should ask, like, how was it for you? Like, I've definitely asked, like, hey, is there anything that I can do different? Is there anything that you like better? Like, I've asked those questions, and there's nothing wrong with asking those questions. Like, you just have to be honest with your partners, and you have to be honest with yourself. Sometimes, you know what? You ain't got the got 3,000. You know what I mean? You over here.
more time.
I'm finding that I'm finding that most
Like,
I'm finding that a lot of women don't, and then I find that a lot of women confuse the willingness to be nasty with the reality that you're not very good at being nasty. You know what I mean? Like just because you're willing to lick an asshole or a taint, don't mean you licking it well. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not a booty eater. Jen, shout out to you.
I take
If I
listen, I
stick,
deliver master classes, so we can talk
no,
about
no, thank you, and no one signed up for that. But if I were to eat a whole booty as an example, she probably wouldn't like it very much. Because guess what? I'm not into that shit. And a lot of hoes are doing shit in bed because they know what a nigga. So yeah, I'll suck you off, and I'll give you that sloppy head, and that shit is very sus,
You know
very
what? You're
suspect, and
making
it's
a
not
good
nearly as
point.
good as they think it
I
is.
remember a
Stop
girl.
overselling, hoe. Undersell and overperform.
I
Okay.
remember a girl telling me I was eating her pussy, and she told me, "You." She was like, "You like pussy, but you don't love it." By the way, I was eating it, right? And I was like, "Well, damn," because it was probably true. Um,
Yeah.
and she could sense that the level of desire wasn't there. But then I challenged myself and like, listen, you love pussy? I know you do. You know, found a secret spot in my heart, nigga, and I went in there and I engulfed myself into it. And when I came
I don't
back
even
out,
know how we got here, Dad. I don't even know what we talk about
when I
anymore.
came back out, dog, I ate that
We're
pussy
talking about
like
casual
I ate that pussy like I was
Now we're
starving in
talking about
Somalia,
oral
nigga.
skills. We don't know. We were packing
Quick
it.
edit, please. Quick
I
edit.
don't
We need a
know.
quick edit.
Quick. I don't know what.
We need an
I don't know how
edit.
his story even piggybacked off of what, because. But listen,
Shit.
have fun out there in this casual dating world. It could be fun. It can be disheartening. Especially if you're on the losing end. Man, it's tough out there for you. But gladly I'll never have to find out. Appreciate y'all.
Try your best, fellas. Try your best to strap up. Try your best. All right, I'm out.
I hate you, Des. I hate you, Des. Not try your best.
I
Try your
can't with him
hey.
right now.
All you can do is try your best.
So you said that, so I'm gonna speak to it a little bit. Women out there in the world, y'all giving up the raw pussy real quickly, like real. Well, the days of putting the Jimmy on, y'all don't even talk about it no more. Not like that. That's not how y'all doing it at all. Like that's how y'all really rolling. And fellas, y'all out here hitting them raw. I mean, I ain't mad at y'all. You know how we do. You know what I'm saying? But
I'm gonna close it up. I'm gonna close it up right there, y'all. So
yeah, close it up right there. Close it up
you
right
can
there.
find Brunch with the Boys on
In
all
other words,
podcasts.
ladies, make him put the condom on, okay? Because he ain't gonna do it on his own. He ain't
You
gonna do
can
it.
find us on all podcast platforms. Huge presence on YouTube. You can find us on all the socials: Instagram at Brunch with Boys with ends with a Z, on Twitter at brunch_boys with a Z. We are on TikTok as well. And keep rocking with us. We appreciate Jack for coming through and holding the ground, to be honest with you. I mean, we have 3 distinctive personalities, but they're all strong in various directions. But you held your own. So thank you for joining us.
Appreciate
We
you.
appreciate you, Jack. We appreciate you.
We appreciate you. We out.
Ski.
Ta-ta,
Hey.
folks. What?